Imagine being paid to start over, not just finding a cheaper life, but being invited to begin again somewhere beautiful, quiet, and new. In 2025, countries around the world are literally offering money for people to move, from Europe's forgotten villages to Japan's peaceful countryside. Here are the places paying Americans to move there, and why they want you more than ever. They say freedom isn't free, but in 2025, something strange is happening. Freedom is being offered, with cash attached. Across the world, small towns and entire nations are doing something that sounds almost unbelievable. They're paying people, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars, to move there. It's not a gimmick. It's survival. Empty schools, quiet streets, aging populations, these places aren't just losing people, they're losing future. And so they're turning to a new kind of citizen. The remote worker, the young family, the wanderer looking for a simpler life. The kind of American who looks around and realizes that home doesn't have to mean struggle. The new question isn't, where can I afford to live? It's, where would they pay me to live well? Let's look at the countries and the reasons behind the surprising new global migration trend. Why countries are paying people to move. It's easy to assume it's just about money, but what's really happening is bigger and more human. In 2025, dozens of countries face the same silent crisis. Shrinking towns, fewer children, and economies built for populations that no longer exist. Rural schools are closing. Shops stand empty, entire communities risk fading from the map. For governments, every new resident means hope. New businesses, filled homes, and taxes that keep the lights on. For citizens, it means revival. More teachers, more cafes, more life. That's why countries from Europe to Asia are offering incentives that sound almost surreal. Free land, tax breaks, cash payments, even full relocation packages for young professionals willing to move where few others will. But for Americans, the appeal goes deeper than the money. It's the idea of being wanted. In the US, housing prices climb while wages stagnate. In small towns across Europe, it's the opposite. Too many houses, not enough people. So, in a strange twist of global economics, countries are practically competing to give Americans something priceless: a second chance. As one relocation program director in Europe put it, we don't just need workers, we need neighbors. Here are 7 countries that have turned that philosophy into policy, literally paying people to start new lives. Number 7, Italy. Italy has become the face of the move here and get paid movement. The dream starts with a crumbling stone house in Sicily or Sardinia, and a promise. Regional governments have been offering grants and even cash bonuses to anyone willing to buy and renovate old homes, some listed for as little as €1. But in 2025, Italy's approach has evolved. Now, entire villages offer stipends to newcomers who move there full-time and start a family or small business. For Americans drowning in student debt or rent, the math is absurdly tempting. A 3-story house for less than the price of a year's rent in Chicago, plus €10,000 in incentives to settle in. Italy's not just buying residents, it's buying back its heartbeat. Number 6, Spain. Spain's rural exodus has been one of Europe's most dramatic. Villages once alive with festivals now echo with silence. But 2025 marks a turning point. Dozens of Spanish towns, particularly in Galicia, Aragon, and the interior, now offer relocation bonuses, business grants, and free housing to remote workers and young families. Some municipalities even provide childcare stipends or tax exemptions for the first few years. For Americans tired of the US hustle, Spain offers the opposite: a slower life that still connects you to Europe's pulse. Mornings begin with coffee under orange trees, workdays end with ocean sunsets. And the kicker? Someone else is helping pay for your transition. The unspoken truth is simple: Spain doesn't just want new residents. It wants dreamers who will stay. Number 5, Portugal. If Italy and Spain are restoring the old world, Portugal is building the new one. Portugal has become a magnet for digital nomads and expats. But in 2025, its strategy is shifting inland. Rural municipalities and island regions are now offering direct relocation support, sometimes in the form of free accommodation, sometimes through government grants for entrepreneurs and remote workers. It's part of a national initiative to repopulate the interior, bringing life back to smaller towns while giving outsiders a chance to build a life with purpose and space. Americans love Portugal for its warmth and simplicity, but the new incentives make it more than a dream. They make it practical. As one mayor put it, we can't afford to let our towns die quietly, so we're paying people to help us live loudly again. Number 4, Ireland. Ireland's wild coasts and green hills are beautiful, but its most ambitious immigration programs aren't in Dublin or Cork. They're on remote islands where the population has thinned to near zero. The Irish government has introduced relocation support for families willing to move to these sparsely inhabited islands, covering some housing and infrastructure costs. Local councils sweeten the deal with grants, job placements, or business startup funds. For many Americans with Irish roots, it's more than financial. It's spiritual. A chance to return to heritage while building something tangible. Imagine working remotely with Atlantic winds outside your window, in a community that knows your name within a week. It's not just relocation, it's rebirth. Number 3, Japan. Japan's story is one of beauty and imbalance. A nation of 125 million, where the hum of Tokyo contrasts sharply with the silence of the countryside. In many towns, more houses are abandoned than occupied. That's why, in 2025, Japan's relocation programs are some of the most generous in the world. Families leaving Tokyo for smaller cities can receive up to 3 million yen, around $20,000, plus housing support and childcare benefits. Some regions even hand out empty homes for free, as long as families commit to restoring them. For Americans drawn to Japan's safety, order, and culture, this program feels like destiny. A chance to live among cherry blossoms and temples, and be paid for it. But there's a deeper reason Japan resonates with Americans: structure. In a country where everything runs on respect and precision, life feels lighter, predictable, peaceful. Japan isn't paying people to move, it's inviting them to breathe. Number 2, Canada. Canada doesn't just need immigrants, it embraces them. But in 2025, a quieter chapter of that story is unfolding far from Toronto or Vancouver. Small towns and provinces like Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Nova Scotia are offering relocation bonuses and job-linked grants for newcomers willing to settle outside major cities. These incentives often cover moving costs, housing support, and even community integration programs. It's not about charity, it's about sustainability. Canada's vastness means that entire communities rely on new residents to stay alive, to keep schools open, hospitals staffed, and local economies breathing. For Americans, Canada feels like home, but calmer. Familiar values, shared language, better healthcare, and a social fabric that feels less frayed. When an American family moves to small-town Canada, they're not escaping chaos. They're choosing civility. And Canada, in return, says thank you, sometimes literally in dollars. Number 1, New Zealand. If there's one country that turns relocation into poetry, it's New Zealand. In 2025, its government and regional development programs continue to attract skilled workers, entrepreneurs, and sustainable living pioneers, offering everything from moving stipends to tax breaks for those who settle in smaller towns. But money is just the headline. The real story is why people go. New Zealand is a country that still feels alive in every sense. Its air, its values, its balance. There's an unspoken understanding here. Life is meant to be lived outdoors, shared and enjoyed, not survived through stress. For Americans burnt out by work culture and division, New Zealand feels like a mirror of what the US once promised: open skies, opportunity, and optimism. The financial incentives are nice, sure, but what's priceless is the peace. As one American expat put it, "They didn't just pay us to move here, they paid us to remember what happiness feels like." So what does it mean when countries start paying people to move? At first glance, it's economic policy, but at heart, it's emotional. Every offer, every €10,000 relocation grant, every free house, every tax break is really an invitation to slow down, to start again, to trade the noise of the world for a life that actually fits. For Americans, this global movement touches something deep. It's not just about escaping high rent or burnout. It's about rediscovering the value of time, space, and peace. When you think about it, the irony is striking. For decades, people dreamed of moving to America for opportunity. Now, Americans are being paid to take that same dream somewhere new. Maybe this isn't the end of the American dream, maybe it's its evolution. Because in 2025, freedom doesn't always look like more. Sometimes it looks like less. Less stress, less noise, less someday. And as countries around the world open their doors and their wallets, the question becomes beautifully simple. What if starting over isn't running away at all? What if it's finally running toward the life you were meant to live? So, if you could be paid to start over, would you do it? The offers are real. The question is, what are you still waiting for? If this video inspired you, hit subscribe, leave a like, and tell us in the comments, which country would you pack up for tomorrow?